Board of Education. This is a continuation of the meeting from March. And I'll read this. The purpose of this statutory meeting is to hear and consider any objections to officially adopt the levy rates for property taxation for 2026, 2027. This special meeting was recessed in regard to levy rates from March 24, 2026. Special meeting statute 11-8-9, statute 11-8-12, and statute 8-12A. Levy rate for 2026, 2027 are as follows. Class 2. Earth expense levy is 3880. The excess will be 3670. The current expense levy for class 3 is 7760. And the excess levy will be 73. Was there any change in the levy rate?
It changes, the excess levy changes a little.
That was in there that says that the board shall decrease the rate based on.
Yes,
Yes.
so that's based on last time passed. So we do have a letter from the state auditor's office, Mark Hunt's, and
Still stay where. All right, motion to adjourn by Dr. White, second by Mr. Keiser. All those in favor of adjourning this special meeting of the Logan County Board of Education indicate by saying aye. 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 All those opposed? Vote carries 4-0 with one absent, and we are adjourned at 4:48 p.m. All right. Today is April 21st, 2026. It's 5 p.m. I hereby call this regularly scheduled session of the Logan County Board of Education to order. We're meeting here in the Ralph R. Willis Career Technical Center. Present today is Mr. Rodrigario, Mr. Keyser, myself, Mr. Dean, and Dr. Pat Joe White. Mr. Markham is not here today. So we do have a quorum. I'll now ask everyone to please stand. Miss Kimberly Blair, she'll please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you very much. You may be seated. All right, under presentations, we have two presenters. Are y'all presenting together or separate? Kinda. Okay, so we have Mr. Bowberry and Miss Kimberly Blair here to present us with information on middle of the year assessments, correct?
Yes,
All right, the floor is yours, guys.
my name is Bo Berry, coordinator of testing for the county. And we're in the middle of testing season now with the TSAT and the SAT and the benchmarks are ongoing right now. First thing I want to touch on is the upcoming GSA coming up for state testing. The testing will be starting in the county on Tuesday, May the 5th. And in years past, parents couldn't get results until September, sometimes October. It took a long time. Just want everybody to be aware, we now have a parent portal through the Department of Education, and everybody should have a packet at your desk. When you look at this and flip over to the first page, this is what the portal looks like. And parents can contact our principals at school, contact me at the board's office. And this is what it looks like. All they need is a 6-digit code and provide their date of birth and their first name, and parents will be able to see their child's score within 24 hours after taking the test. If we start May 5th, for ELA, writing is on May 7th. They can't get their ELA score, the writing is complete also. So after Thursday, May 7th, parents can type get their code and get their child score within 24 hours usually for that. And that applies for the math and the science also. So 24 hours sure beats September, October, like in years past, for parents and their families.
Though, if you don't care, I have a question. This is, of course, a great thing for us because, as you said, you used to have to wait months and months after the testing process went. Will the portal provide info to the county for like combined scores? You know, like I'm just going to use, and I'm just going to toss out the name because it comes to me. Let's take, for example, South Man is participating in the testing program as in all of our schools. So will you all and the school, South Man, be able to just do the same thing and pull up South Man's combined scores?
We were able to get access pretty quick for each student, for each school, for each class. But they was always under embargo before. It wasn't able to be released until September, October, a lot of times. Now we're getting the scores back quicker, and that's something that can happen. Yes.
Okay, so the embargo period is not going to be as long as it was in the past.
Correct.
Okay.
We're
We're gonna benefit from a county standpoint
Yeah,
and a
that-
school standpoint, not just an individual student.
I think it's still gonna be embargoed until we get the okay to release the information to it's verified. But the parents on this will be able to see their child's score within 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the combined school score
We,
may be embargoed for a period of time.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And since we are talking about GSA, if you flip the page, here is the scores for the last 10 years. Just kind of wanted to share this with you. And you can see pretty much where we were last year. We started the last 3 years, each score, ELA, math has been on an upward trajectory. We want to keep that path going. You can see there was no testing in 2019 because of COVID. You can see how everything dipped at that time, and we're kind of in the process of building back up. And we want to keep that momentum going for the last 3 years, what you see there. Science a little bit lower, science a little bit different. We test in math and reading grades 3 through 8, but for science, we test in grades 5 and 8. And the 5th grade test is everything from 3rd and 4th grade and 5th grade. And the 8th grade test incorporates 6th and 7th grade, as well as the 8th grade. So you got 3 years worth of material for science. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And you can see last year's ELA scores was the highest it was the last 10 years. And math has been improving each year also. So we're kind of building after COVID and the positive trajectory we have there. And just wanted to touch base, make everybody familiar with the portal. Any parent that wants their portal information, contact the school, or feel free to contact me at the board's office. I'll be glad to help them to be able to get on so they can see their child's school. Okay. Switching gears over to benchmark. We are ongoing with end of the year benchmark testing right now. So we're sharing the middle of the year that we have. And I have a little statement here to remind everybody, when we benchmark test, it tests a whole year's worth of content standards, not what they've been taught up to that point. So it's a whole year's worth of standards. And flip over, first thing is reading. And the reading scores for grade school, the next page will be middle school. And from the beginning of the year to middle of the year, you can see positive growth in each area. Okay. And we hope to see more improved growth, of course, with the end of the year benchmark that we're doing now. Kindergarten, you can see made a tremendous jump up to 73%. Proficient, 3rd grade made a good jump also. With that, flip over to middle school, grades 5 through 8. On the next page, not as much growth as the grade schools, but we see a positive growth, except for 5th grade. 5th grade reading is pretty, they're in middle school. It's more complex for them. Instead of just reading comprehension, it's more analysis type things. So 5th grade reading here, even though we're still seeing growth, kids are learning skills, not quite shown here, and we hopefully will see at the end of the year. Next page will be math for grade school and math for middle school. You can see a tremendous jump. Kindergarten math, and it goes up. Compared to reading, the beginning of the year benchmarks were real low for math. And we got to remember too, beginning of the year, if I'm a 3rd grade student, for example, and I'm taking beginning of the year benchmark, I've been testing on 3rd grade standards. I haven't been taught those yet. Right. So we expect those standards to be kind of low, be a grade level behind. If I'm a 3rd grade student, I should be good on 2nd grade, but not 3rd grade. And that's why you see the proficiency beginning of the year low, then you can see the growth in the middle of the year. That's what we see here. Okay.
Do we have any information that we receive from students in any grade level at the high school level?
We do. We take the PSAT and the SAT. We take that in the beginning of the year, and we just recently took the last week, April 9th, we took the SAT for 11th grade.
So will we be getting some information on that too?
It takes longer to get that in because that's college board. That's not through the state. We will get information on those.
Okay.
And anytime you all want information as far as more information that's provided here, as far as class of schools, grades, what have you, feel free to publish. Okay. This time I'm going to turn it over for some more questions. I'll turn it over to Ms. Blair.
Bo does a great job working with data. We've done that a lot together. We both like the numbers. So, but behind every data point that you guys heard, that there is a student and there's also a teacher behind them. That is and a support staff member in a school community. We're all working to get those scores up. Of course, they're not where we want them to be, but what I see and what we've all seen is tremendous growth. And we are looking at different questions and asking ourselves, are we using our time efficiently and effectively? Are we targeting the right students in the right way? And are we being consistent across all the classrooms throughout our county? And from that reflection that we've already made, we've already started making some changes in schools. And some schools have changed their intervention time because they felt like they weren't seeing the gains that they wanted to see and that we need to see. So I gave you a handout to just talk about where do we go from here? These are our scores, but what are we doing with them? And what we're doing now is the first thing is we focus on core instruction. Intervention is what I've told them all for next year. I really want to make that my baby, but we can't make intervention the most important thing without first going over our core instruction. So we're making sure that our classrooms have what they need and that they're aligning with their curriculum and that the students are all getting that first tier. They're all getting access to grade level material. Then we move on to what I'm talking about is my baby, and that is our intervention time. So we are going to be implementing what we're going to call win time, which is what I need. And it's going to be 30 minutes every day for English and 30 minutes for math. And what happens during that time, the students will be broken up into different groups. And those groups won't be based on grade level. They'll be both based on a skill that that child needs. So we take these, the assessments that Mr. Berry was talking about, and we break those down to not just an area, but a certain skill. And those kids will get intervention on that skill. And they might be in that intervention group for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then they'll move on to a different group with a different group of students, with a different teacher maybe. But that's targeting what they need. They're not going to be with another group and then, like, you know, kids get bored. I mean, I know my own children, you know, if you're talking about something that they know already, you know, they get bored. So this is a great time, and it's research-based, for students to be on the level that they need to be on. And in some schools, that could be a first grader, move it up to a third grade class so that they can get enrichment. So it doesn't necessarily have to be intervention. So we really want to make sure that we take the time this summer to do professional development so that the teachers know, and aides, we're going to use everybody in the building to do this intervention. So there's small groups. So teachers, we're going to have our aides, special education staff, a counselor could have a group. In the past, as a principal, I led a group. Very difficult sometimes, but it's very important that everybody's on board. That's going to be a huge focus for us next year. And then I have to say that, do I think this is going to be easy? No. But do I think that it's going to be worth it? Absolutely. And I've only been here since January, but I'm surrounded by educators, and I mean that from every single person. From, we have bus drivers and cooks and custodians, the superintendents, secretaries. Everybody is dedicated in getting better. We've realigned ourselves. We have an open door policy. When I first came, Mr. Ellis, what he told me was, I want you to answer the phone or answer emails. He's like, if a teacher calls you or a principal, get back with them. And I've remembered that, and I've tried my best to. When they call, within a couple hours, you know, sometimes we're in emergencies, but I've tried to get back with them. But through seeing that, I've seen people who really genuinely care about the county and this school system. And I think that if we come into these schools and we want to find 100 things wrong, we can, but I want to find solutions. I'm not looking for problems, I'm looking for solutions. And I see a lot of great things happening in Logan County. And I truly believe that this time next year, we'll be able to come back and we're all going to be amazed with what the wonderful educators in Logan County have done. That is all for me, but do you guys have any questions? I talk really fast, I apologize.
How far do we actually break these results down? And the reason I'm asking from our standpoint, you know, we're worried about county level.
Sure.
But from our administration standpoint, they're worried about it on a lot, how to being able to narrow things down a lot better. So do we break this down school to school and make that available to our administrators?
Oh yeah, so they, not only do we break it down, they can break it down, like with the programs that we use. So if you're talking about our middle of the year benchmark, the teacher can go in and break their scores down. Like, so a specific teacher like Miss Blair, if I have an English class, I could go in and see what my phonics scores are, these 7 kids. And these programs will actually group those kids, like I said, it'll say, okay, these 6 kids need this skill. So, yeah, it's definitely broken down, but even it's broken up by the school, by a classroom, That's your part, I guess. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're doing good. We, had data meetings with principals, about a month ago and met with each principal and went over the data, and they did the same thing with their staff, and we could break it down to not only each school, but each class, each subject, what area of each subject, like in reading for, phonemic awareness or phonics or reading comprehension, vocabulary. You can break it down for each student. And we take that, and they take that data. That's what they use to make their groups, small group interventions with. They kind of use the data to drive instruction in their classrooms so we can see this. And what Ms. Blair's talking about, how we're going to revamp our groups next year to better serve our children, our students.
Do you all have to depend on you all to break it down, or can you all go on the dashboard and break it down yourself to however you want?
Every teacher and principal and myself even, we can get on the dashboards and break them down and look at them. The teachers can print out individual reports for families if they want one for their child. So there's a lot of data to look at and break it down by an individual standard.
So,
Dang, if I was speaking with my hands again, I apologize. I said I can do better.
but truly, like some of the programs we use, it's almost like an IEP for each child. It's an individualized learning. So it breaks it down on what that child needs. And for example, I'll use my own son. He had he's a very good math student, and his weakest subject was geometry. And it noticed that, but then it broke it down for him so that it gave him extra work for geometry, and the teacher worked with him on geometry. The following year, his high score was in geometry. It went from being as lowest to as highest because it's an individualized for that child. If the children will take their assessment seriously, it truly is a prescription of exactly what they need.
So this is tied to the GSA, which is through the 8th grade. Are we going to implement this at the high school level as well?
Well, it's like what we're doing, it doesn't actually go to the high school. And I'm not a high school
Right.
person, so I'm not trying to throw it off on somebody else, but I don't know.
Yeah, the data I presented to you as far as benchmarks is, goes from 3 to 8.
Right,
We get in 9th grade, we're using PSAT.
right,
It's done 3 times a year. That's fall and spring.
right.
We're taking PSAT in 9th and 10th grade, and we use the SAT in the 11th
But
grade.
what I'm saying is, are we going to be able to take the data from the PSAT and the SAT and do this with it at the high school level?
Secondary principals in schools, they take the data from the PSAT, and that gives them data to work with our students. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Not as, it's different from what she's doing in elementary walking intervention, but the information is provided in the PLCs and so on at the high school level to where principals and staff can identify weaknesses and strong areas, and they can use that data. That's why we take in the fall and the spring, so we can kind of get an idea, how to work with the strengths and weaknesses of each student.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 4B, public speakers. There were no public speakers. So we're moving on to item number 5. That's approval of the minutes. This is from the special meeting on April 7th, 2026. The meeting from March 24th was not adjourned. It was recessed. So those minutes will be on the next agenda. But the special meeting of April 7th, 2026 was approved by the board. By the state board. And then we'll move on to item number 6, approval of action items. And I will turn the floor over to Dr. White.
Okay, again, these action items were previously by the state board, with the exception of a few. We have a few that aren't, but so far, our salary schedule revisions effective for 2026. We had a revision. We added a heating and air conditioning mechanic to electrician to, and these are, it gives them a little bit of a pay bump because they do have some licensing and specialized training. And, we want to try to keep as many qualified HVAC and electricians and others that we can. So that was added into the salary schedule that's there. The school calendar, this is our 3rd meeting with the school calendar, and so it's been approved by the state board or by Superintendent Black. We have some out-of-state trips that were on our agenda, Logan High School's forensic science class is taking a bus to travel to East Alcatraz Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and they are fundraiser funds. Man High School's boys baseball team is traveling to Kentucky for a baseball game. Even though it's just, across the way, we still have to put it on there as an out-of-state trip. Man High School senior class is, going by, Seaville Bus Transport to Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, May 20th and 21st. Fundraiser funds are being used for that. Burdenville Elementary is going to the Columbus Zoo on Saturday, May 16th, and that's their school trip allocation fund. So we're really excited that our kids are getting to go to see some things that are, they may not get to see at any other time. Again, our levy funds support those trips and things. Chapmanville Youth Football League, we have an MOU with them. They're going to use the vacant property the board owns on Adams Street for youth football activities, practices, games, trainings, and so forth. They've been great to work with, and we're glad we had that opportunity to help them out.
That's gonna be a big help.
Yeah. We also have an MOU with Education Alliance AmeriCorps. They're going to sponsor 3 summer mentors at 3 locations for our summer program at Buffalo Elementary, Chapmanville Intermediate, and Logan Middle School, June 8th through July 30th at $1,200 each, and that is being covered by federal funds for summer programs. Now we have, and this is, again, the state board attorney policy, making back over to you all. So we had 3 policies that were on the 3rd and final reading. And again, these were based on legislation that passed, required courses of instruction, policy 2230.07, policy 2370.04, learning pods and micro schools, defining those and the county role with those, and then policy 2371, which is the Hope Scholarship Program. So I don't know if we want to go through all of them, or you guys want to vote on the new ones and then the updated ones.
I was gonna do new and then updated,
Okay,
just so that they're since they're separate items on the
sure.
agenda.
Since they are separate items, I would make a motion that we approve the new policies under category F, which is 2230, 2370.04, I'm sorry, and 2230.07, and 2371, which is a Hope Scholarship Program. I will make that motion.
All right,
Second.
Mr. Keiser, second. Do we have any questions or discussion? No questions or discussion. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the new policies listed under F in their 3rd and final reading indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by saying no. The ayes have it 4-0. And we will move on to item G.
Okay, we have 29, 20, 26, my Roman numerals there again. 26 updated policies. And again, we worked with Neola. They looked at their updates as the legislature passed new laws. And many of these are technical updates where they've changed may to shall and things like that, or there were some typos. And these are through the zeros through the 2000s policies. Next month, we'll have additional ones where the technical things are made. So these are on the 3rd and final reading. It's policy 100, which is bylaws, 142 qualifications, 143 election, 146 resignation or removal of board members, 167 voting, 175.2 the West Virginia School Board Association and the National School Board Association, policy 1530.01 evaluation of school leaders, 2114 meeting state accountability measures, 2120 county and school improvement, 2120.01 local school improvement councils, 2220 adoption of programs of study, 2230.01 program of study middle school, 2230.02 program of study high school programs, 2261.01 parent and family member participation in Title I programs, 2275 Mountaineer Challenge Academy, 2370 alternative delivery of educational programs, 2411 guidance and counseling, 2413 AIDS education program, 2414 drug prevention and violence reduction education program, 2416 student privacy and parental access to information, 2430, district-sponsored clubs and activities, 243002, participation in extracurricular activities, 2431, scholastic athletics, 2460, special education, 2600, educational programs, and 2605, program accountability and evaluation. Okay, there you are. So-
All right, I need a motion.
Can I ask a question before you ask for a motion?
Is it related to the policies?
Yes.
Usually you do discussion and questions after the motion's made.
Okay.
So I need a motion for approval of the updated policies under item G.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Keiser with the motion, Dr. White with the second. All right, so you had a question, sir?
Just, very briefly, we have used the Logan County has used Neola as their policy updater for many years. Is that going to be the plan for the future, is to use the Neola company to
Yeah.
provide updates?
Yes, what they do, and again, we're kind of playing catch up because of things that's happened in previous years. So from November 1st on, I'm here, but, so what they do typically is they have an update in May of each year and usually the fall of each year. And the May update, lets us know about things that reflects recently passed legislation and how it would impact the policies. And so once we get all of our policies caught up, it will just be anything in those updates or anything that we as a county and you as a board want to change. So it won't be 30, hopefully 26 policies again, once we go through all of them. But,
So what I guess my question also is, as we are working through to update our policies, and let's take, for example, the legislature may go into session and decide during a special session to create some policies that impact education, then Neola will generate that policy to you all to update. Okay,
yes, and what they do is they give us like a menu of items and we can kind of pick and choose which pieces we want, or we can write our own if we choose to. But they do give us a good template to start with.
okay.
And,
Thank you. That was my question.
and just so everybody's clear, if there is a state law, so policy from the way our training and the state board association meetings go, policy is basically the law of our school board of our county. If there's a state law that's passed, that supersedes the policy until the policy is updated.
They won't.
Right.
So, yes.
The flip side to that is just because a policy is old doesn't mean it is not in effect. As long as it doesn't as long as it doesn't go up against state law or federal law, it can be from 1883 when the Logan County School Board was established. If that policy is still on the books, it's still in effect, correct?
Yes. Like, for example, there's a policy in those one of the policies that the Logan County School Board shall be called this.
Right.
That policy will never be changed
Right.
unless you guys decide to change it. But there are policies that we look at them, but they don't need updating because it's, the law hasn't changed or they're still relevant.
So there's no expiration to policy.
No, there's not.
There's just updating with what's going on, what we feel is necessary, or what state law is. Okay. I just wanted to let everybody know.
So because we have, as a board, we have been granted the ability to approve policy
Or reject.
or look at it to, revise it or whatever. That also means that if I guess if the board or something, if something occurred that the board felt like they needed to generate a policy to cover, then they would touch base with you and you would touch base with Neola.
Yes.
And Neola would generate the policy and bring it back for the board to approve at a
Right.
future time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the updated policies listed under G in their third and final reading indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying no. The ayes have it 4-0. The policies are approved. And I'm turning the floor back over to you, Dr. White.
Item 8 is an agreement for 26-27, an option pathway for K-12 and local education agency collaboratives at 3 high schools and Ralph R. Willis Technical Center. Provide 3 options, one for at-risk students, credit recovery, and HSE tests for those intent on dropping out. So that'd be in high school equivalents to GED tests. So we have an MOU with the option pathway to do that. We have some surplus equipment in the technology department. We have 2 very old vehicles, almost 20, well, they are 20 years old. A 2006 Jeep Liberty. Liberty is mechanically disabled, has over 144,000 miles on it. And a 2005 Ford E150, and it's mechanically disabled and has 183,000+ miles on it. So those will be sold at surplus. We also have an agreement with Mountain State Educational Service Collaborative with the Ralph R. Willis Career Technical Center to provide financial services by hiring 1 at-will financial aid advisor from April 9th to June 30th at a cost of $4,300 for Pell Grant funds. Now, what this is, someone who will come in and advise our adult programs like the LPN program and those types of things to help them navigate the financial aid piece so that they can get their licenses and for those programs. But we need someone to help with that. And it's cheaper just to get someone to contract that work for us. And again, the Pell Grant funds, which are federal funds, pay for that. Budget supplementals, Fund 11, it's, I guess we unsupplemented some money, $989,843 since it's in parentheses. We transferred money between Fund 61, $2,000, $6,921, and $204,000. Some invoices, we had 2.1 million, a little over that for county. For CARES funding, we didn't have anything. CTE, we had $37,772.85. Food service, $81,319.01. IASA, $56,287.40. Permanent improvements, $34,182.76, and P card, $22,677.58 for a total of a little over 2.3 million. All the invoices are available for review at the central office if you want to direct inquiries to Rhonda Justice at the office. Our personnel schedule is also attached. For professional, we have several athletics coaches and that sort of thing that were hired for those positions. We had a correction. Jonathan Christian is a temporary sports spring coach countywide, authorized paid, and we had to correct that from the other meeting. We also abolished 2 positions at the central office that weren't on the ones last time. We had over 100. We missed a few, so we're correcting them here. But all of the people were notified within the proper time frame and were given the opportunity if they chose to have a hearing, which they did not. So we eliminated a benefits coordinator and a personnel coordinator out of the central office, those positions. We have some administrative transfers effective for next school year due to the school merger of Burtonville Elementary School and Omar. What happened there is countywide, both service and professional personnel voted to give preference to the Burtonville teachers who were being displaced by the closure of their school, first refusal of the jobs that were being created at Omar Elementary. So what that, for example, we had to create several positions because of the 2 schools combining, so that the teachers at Burtonville had first preference. And that, again, that was an overwhelmingly positive vote by the entire county personnel to allow that to happen. So we have a kindergarten teacher that's going to Omar. It's really across the hall kind of thing. They're in the same building now, but first grade and a second grade position were created, as well as a third grade position and then a special education position. So those were all as part of the merger of the positions that were created. We also, this time of year before May 1st, we have to appoint a treasurer for the school system, and we're appointing Ms. Rhonda Justice, our school treasurer, for the 26-27 school year. We employed a nurse, substitute teachers, as well. There's some people on FMLA that is listed there. And then we did some realignments, and what that is instead of, maybe at a school they had enough seniority that, so at Buffalo Elementary, we moved a kindergarten position to be a fourth grade teacher for next year. So they didn't need the kindergarten position, but they needed a fourth grade. So we were able to do that. And then Chapmanville Regional High School, we did the same thing. Went from a full-time driver's ed teacher to half driver's ed, half social studies, because that's what we needed there to realign their positions. So we rescinded a position at Man Elementary Pre-K from a itinerant school counselor basically she's decided to stay, so she's going to remain an itinerant one there from December. We had a couple of resignations, 3, and then a reduction in force. This is again one that was left off the list of clerical error for music at Logan High School. That was a RIF. On the service side, we have, this is again for 26-27 school year. These people we placed in these were omitted, so these were some administrative transfers for service personnel. We employed some substitute aides, cooks, and custodians. We rescinded a itinerant special needs aide. They're going to remain on the subs list, and then resign with some resignations. And then we had some reduction in force at the bus garage. And these were mostly extracurricular runs, and we had a secretary to the LPM program who went back to branch. These were some that were already taken care of, but enough from all the other lists. We had about 10 lists going around, so you're caught up with those.
On the driver's ed teacher that came and spoke,
Mhm.
and I think it was suggested that he would cover Man and Chapmanville. Whatever became of that?
We're still working through those
Okay.
things. So what we're doing right now is we're we're working through all of those. First, as the high schools are getting their list of what kids want to take. And again, as we look at those, if we see there is a need to add a position or rescind a RIF, we'll do that. So
I didn't know if y'all got that far or not.
we're still working on it. I was at Logan High School today, and the principal there had posted notes trying to get his schedule put together so he would see what he needed.
Well, the way you worded it, it will be complicated from Man to Chapmanville.
Well, I think it's going to be Man to Logan. So
Okay, still
yeah.
some time there.
But again, it will base it on enrollment, and like I said,
How many kids are taking?
how many kids are taking it, because you're very low enrollment.
Thank you.
By the time that everything kind of shook out personnel wise,
Mhm.
were we looking at possibly maybe 100 cuts, or how many?
Yeah, it's right, it was right, it's hard to, it's right around 100 positions were impacted. However, that we had many positions that had long-term subs in them. So some of our teachers maybe were cut, their position was cut, but they're going to be able to bid on a long-term sub, a vacancy, because a long-term sub was in there and you can get the job. So that's all shuffling out now. We posted those jobs as quickly as we could internally. So it's an internal posting. Only our employees could see those, and they've been bidding on those jobs, and we've been working on placing people there as quickly as we can.
I just wondered, because in keeping up with the news and all, I saw a couple weeks ago where Kanawha County had to cut many employees. And many of their employees may be certified for positions where we had long-term subs.
Right.
So you might have carryovers maybe from county to county.
Yes.
As we post positions,
Yes.
we may have certified people bid from another county into some of our positions.
That's what I'm hoping, because
Okay.
especially in the math, science, and special ed is where our greatest needs are.
And really, you won't even know the final grip on everything until after the 10th day of school next year, where we see where all the transfers land, where we see who chooses what electives, where the interest is at. So we're not gonna really get an answer to any of this until after we are into the first month of school.
As soon as summer, we should, probably 90% of it will be finalized. And we've always, you know, a family or two moves in and puts you over on a, you know, you have to hire a third teacher in elementary, that kind of thing. So those things happen, but we, you know, we realize that and, you know, we'll never shortchange our children, you know, but like I said, state code, this is the only time we can cut positions, but we can add them back anytime that there's a need. The superintendent's report, I guess, I don't have any other questions. Just some things, Jennifer Wooten, who is an elementary school teacher at Logan Elementary, has been selected for the West Virginia Council of Teachers of Mathematics, which is our state math group. I used to be a member of that. She's their community relations representative for the entire state. So she's serving in a leadership position. Jennifer presents on last few years. She presented at the state conference and does a wonderful job. Gets a lot of positive reviews. But I want to recognize her for that. I think it was last week, Mr. Ellis, we met with the Southern West Virginia Community and Technical College. We're partnering with them and Ralph R. Willis to work on an LPN to RN program.
Awesome.
So basically, if there are students that want to enroll in their RN program, but they're not quite ready, they come here, go to the LPN program, finish it, and then, you know, get into the RN program at the community college. So that's a great partnership. We're looking forward to that, and it'll strengthen our workforce and give people lots of options. Today, I went over to Logan High School and met with the Principal's Student Advisory Council. That was probably the highlight of my week. Just talking to the kids, they talked about everything from lunches to academics, and everything in between. So it's always fun to meet with students and just hear what they want and just how some of the things we've been doing, such as the early college and partnership with Marshall, has really helped them kind of think about their careers, but also kind of push them academically. And that was just good to hear. And then they had comments on anything and everything. They would like their library remodeled. Just a few things. So it was fun, and they were just super. It was just great to be with them. Spend about an hour with them. On April 9th, myself and the team went to the West Virginia Association of School Administrators Conference on that day. Basically, they shared with us updates on the legislative session and provided everyone with a green book, which tells us what was changed in the legislature. It wasn't as thick this year. That was a good thing. And they spent most of the day talking about financial best practices and how we use things. And it was good to know that we're doing things in the way they should be and aligning with what they say. Tomorrow, Hope Gas, executives from Hope Gas will be visiting Ralph R. Willis to discuss a potential partnership with the new CTE program around energy. So we're really excited about that. And I know that Ms. Adams is excited about hosting that. We're all going to be up here, and we're also invited if you'd like to. We're excited about that. Elementary summer school enrollment is underway, and high school and middle school, you know, we'll look at credit recovery, and that will happen as you know, the counselors meet with them. The Teacher of the Year dinner is Tuesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. at Logan Country Club. The Logan County Community and Educational Foundation is sponsoring the event for us, and it's always a well-attended event by our staff. And it's always good to honor our teachers and our service personnel that go above and beyond. There's a bill that was passed by the legislature last year regarding Cyber SWAT. It's an online safety program that was mandated by the legislature. We had a call out and for parents to be informed of that, and they have options to opt out if they choose to. All the information is on the website. We did a call out last week to let them know this was coming. It's part of a mandated, you know, it's a state law, and basically it's an interactive thing to help our kids see like the choices they make when they're on the internet. If they decide to talk to this person, you know, that could be dangerous, you know, just to give them some awareness of where that would go. And it's their age appropriate. I think it's from age 3 to 12 is where it starts. So, but again, if parents want to opt out, they have that option, but all the information's on the website, and or they can call their school and get the papers that way. And that's all I have for updates.
All righty. Thank you so much. We'll move on to item number 10, board comments, and we will start on my left here with Mr. Rodriguez.
I don't know comment.
No comment? All right, Mr. Keiser?
Mr. Barry, Mr. Blair, thank you all for the presentation you all give today. It's good information and seeing positive trending, and hopefully these end of the year results, we see the full throttle that kept going in that direction as we proceeded through the year. And you know, a lot of good things happening. See a lot of stuff going on in vocational school right now. A lot of positives in that area, and I think an area that's critical to our county right now is being able to stay, to keep jobs and to be able to build jobs within the county. You know, one thing we have learned throughout this process of this state takeover is that it's not all on the shoulders of the board. There's other extenuating circumstances that direct how that flow goes. For example, you know, we went to test scores, and not one of us on this panel up here are in classroom teaching. And neither did we have the ability to make policy to affect what was being taught at that time. But, well, you know, that was bearing on the decision on when the board started getting control back. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are out of our hands, a lot of things that are in our hands, but a lot of things that are out of our hands that have to do. But I'd like to thank everybody, not just in this room, but that's involved with our school system right now, because tonight we, you know, officially the decision was made in February to give our board back decision-making over policy. But tonight we took the first step and took the first vote this board has voted on in what, Tony, 2.5 years?
3.5. Almost
We
4.
took the first vote that we've had in a long time with, and I thought it was a good way to do it with Dr. Pat Joe White, with him being retiring off the board this year, for him to make the first motion to do that first vote and go back into things. I thought that was deserving, but I think we're making progress, and I think that we're seeing it in all the areas right now, and just want to thank everybody, because it's from top to bottom. And what's happening is a reflection of what the whole team is doing right now. So I appreciate what everybody's doing.
Thank you, Mr. Keiser. Dr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Keiser, for your comment. I think that as we look at things, as time progresses, and not only our school system, but school systems throughout the state are all faced in very many similar situations. I mean, we did approve some policies tonight that it was first time in a long time that some policies have been approved. But also keep in mind, though, we're all in the same boat as in regard to operations of school systems. School systems have to keep current with their policies. If they don't keep current with their policies, they'll end up getting so far behind that situations may occur that you didn't even dream of. And I think that, as I say, as time progresses, not only for this board, but for boards throughout the state, we're going to see things that are, rather than people make the comments to the press or whatever about antiquated policies, we're going to see comments made about updated policies, that we are going to be current. And I think as long as any board, no matter when they're elected or when they serve, keeps that in mind, they'll be in good shape. As long as, you know, boards continue, if something comes up or something that you read at the state level that has occurred in the legislature, and all of a sudden you don't think personally that that particular policy can impact your board, you're sadly mistaken. You must keep current. You must keep current whether you want to or not. If you don't, the boat will leave you. And it doesn't take long for that boat to start shifting and moving out in the water. So let's, please keep that in mind as things go on, that you've got to keep current. You've got to keep up to date and current, no matter what your situation is. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll just like to thank Mr. Berry, Mrs. Blair. She had a softball game to get to with her daughter, so she's already stepped out. But thank them for their presentations, giving us an update on not only where we stand with achievement, but what the plan is going forward. That's one of the things that I really like to see. And in my job, I tell people all the time, a lot like what Miss Blair says, don't just come with me to a problem, come with me with a problem, but give me how we're going to fix it. And you guys have a really good blueprint, literally, for excellence to address some of the shortcomings that we have on our achievement scores. And, you can sit here and argue all day whether test scores are indicative of student success. Well, it's the only thing we got. That's the best model we've got. So that's what we got to go by. So why not fix what we can see with the data that we have from the testing and go forward? So I really like that. I agree with Mark. There's a lot of good things that are happening in the county. And I think the winds have kind of shifted a little bit, and we're really starting, especially in the central office. I know we're coming through a really difficult time with RIF season and cutting these positions. I know it's hard. I know it's tough on the county. It's tough on our employees. I get that, but hopefully we come out of the other side of it a little bit better streamlined and a little bit better to provide the services that we need to our students. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we employ these people, and these people are our neighbors and our family, but we're here for the education of children. That's the number one priority we have, the safety and the education of our children. So it's been a painful couple of months. I'm not going to deny that. But I think the winds are starting to shift a little bit, and we're starting to focus again on, okay, we've got through that. What's the best way moving forward to educate these kids and provide them with what they need? And that's what we're charged with. So I really appreciate you guys, coming to us with an obvious need, but an outline for a solution. Our administrators in the central office, I think, are doing a fantastic job. Like Mark said, and everyone else, we really appreciate the work that's being done on a day-to-day basis, because that's not our forte, that's y'all's forte. Y'all do the day-to-day stuff. We just kind of do the policies for right now, and then hopefully step it up as we go forward. So that being said, the only announcement we have is the next Board of Education meeting will be held on May 5th. 2026 at 5 p.m. and it will not be here. It will be at the Chapmanville Regional High School auditorium. So that's the little theater. When you go in, there's a concession stand to the left, just past the concession stands, a little hallway. You'll go by there and go down into the auditorium. And that'll be our regular scheduled board meeting, and it will be our chance to do our academic recognition for a lot of our kids that have done really, really well this year in different academic competitions and opportunities that they've had and we're going to take the opportunity to acknowledge them.
Would it be possible, maybe as an FYI for our next board meeting to have, information regarding times and all related to graduations?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we're working on that. So,
Okay.
the times and we should get that to you.
Okay, and could also, while you're working on that, usually in the past, what's happened is as the notices has gone out to the high school, also kind of like a reminder that that particular day of graduation, they set aside some parking close by that we can pull in and have access to. Since we're going to have to go to 3 different places.
Get in and get out.
Thank you.
I'd like to add, to Mr. Berry, great presentation. I appreciated that. Really educated me on it.
All right, there being no further business before this board, I need a motion for adjournment. Either, I need a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Rodriguez will beat you, Pat.
All right.
I was pointing to you, Pat.
I know.
You ain't got very many to do, and I want you to get out
Get
and feel that.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed indicate by saying no. The ayes have it 4-0. We are adjourned at 5:56 PM.
Well, sure.